Hi everyone, it's Nicole and I'm here with another book haul. This is for May and June. So in here I have books from Amazon, from Book Outlet, and some books that I got for my birthday. And so we'll start right off the bat. And this I got on Amazon. And what I do is I just put all the books that I want and I put it on my wish list, and then I just wait for it to go on sale. So this is 5 Feet Apart. It was actually a movie first, and I think they wrote the book after, but I still want to read the book before I watch the movie. It's about two kids that have cystic fibrosis and that they have to stay 5 feet apart. So I can't wait to read that. Now, this is Aurora Rising from Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, and they're the authors of the Illuminae Files, which I absolutely loved. This is a new series, so I probably won't start reading it until more of the series is out, but I wanted to start collecting them because I know I love them because I love the first one so much. This is Dark Shores by Danielle L. Jensen. I've read quite a few of her other books, and this has to do, I believe, with pirates. And that's all I needed to hear. This one here, a lot of people talked about this one, Sawkill Girls by Claire Legrand. It's something to do with an island. It's fantasy. It came on Amazon for super cheap, so I got it. Now this one here I got from Book Outlet. It's Blood for Blood by Ryan Grodin, and this is a reimagining, I guess, of Wolf by Wolf. Is a race, and whoever wins the race gets to be close to Hitler, and then she wants to win because she wants to kill Hitler. And so this is the finale, of the duology. So I got that on Book Outlet, super cheap. I think it was like $4 or $5. Now this is a new release, just came out in June, I believe. It's called Fix Her Up by Tessa Bailey. Don't know too much about it. Few people talked about it, that they liked it. It's an adult romance comedy, and I thought I would give it a try. This is a young adult romance. It says it's Don't Date Rosa Santos by Nina Moreno, and don't know too much about it except that she thinks that she's cursed, that all the women in her family are cursed. This one here is All the Ever Afters by Danielle Teller. This is the untold story of Cinderella's mother. It is an adult. I don't know if it's contemporary or fiction or fantasy, but it was super cheap on Book Outlet. Now I got this on Book Outlet. It is Wires and Nerves. It's the Lunar Chronicles series, but it's about Aiko, and this is volume 2, Gone Rogue. I don't have volume 1, but where this came on Book Outlet for super cheap, I decided to get it. It was the last copy, so I was like, gotta check out before I lose it. Because I didn't do that for the first one, and they never got it again. So now I'll probably have to pay, close to full price for the first one, because I've read every other books in the Lunar Chronicles, so I want to make sure that I read those too, because Aiko was one of my favorite characters. Now this is the finale, the last book in the Caraval series by Stephanie Garber, and it's called Finale, and it has to do with a circus, I think. And so this is the last book, so now I'll be able to read it. This is Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson, and this has to do with if I remember, a magical library. So can't wait to read that. This is the second book in the Imperium trilogy. This is King's Bane. I haven't read the first one yet, for Reborn, but I like to have them all before I read them. So I slowly collect them, and then once the last one is almost coming out, then I read it. This is a fantasy story, and I think it's one queen is way in the past. It follows two point of views. One queen 1,000 years ago, and then a new queen. And this is Nora Roberts, Year One. I have no idea what this is about, but she is a pretty famous author, and I've heard a lot of people talk about this book, so I decided to get it. This is a thriller, I believe, by Jilly McMillan, Odd Child Out. And was this the second one too? I think it's a companion to What She Knew, I think. So it was on Book Outlet, so I got it because it was super cheap. Now this one I got for my birthday for my daughter. We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Fazal. And all I know is that it is a fantasy young adult. I got that. And she got me 2 more books. I don't know where they are, but when I get to them, I'll say that, you know, that she's the one that got it for me. This I got on Book Outlet, Bring Me Back, B. Paris. This is a thriller. I don't want to know too much about thrillers because then it wrecks it for me. This is the final book in the Fallen Kingdom series by Morgan Rhodes. I haven't started them yet, but it was on Book Outlet, so super cheap. Fantasy. Everybody raves about that series. So now I have all 6 books and I can binge read them. This is the second book in the Glittering Court series. I got this on Book Outlet. It's Midnight Jewel by Rochelle Mead. Don't know too much about it. I have the first book. It came on Book Outlet for super cheap, so I decided to get it. This I also got on Book Outlet. It's The Queen of Sorrows. This is the 3rd book in The Queen's Arenthia by Sarah Beth Durst. I got the other 2 books. It's an adult fantasy. I got the first 2 on Book Outlet, so where it was on Book Outlet, I decided to take it. Now, this is Again But Better by Christine Riccio. She is a booktuber, and she put out I don't know if it's an adult contemporary or young adult contemporary, but I've heard some things about that, so we will see. This is Enchantée by Gita Trellis. I think this is a historical fantasy, maybe. So I can't wait to read that. This one here is The Candle and the Flame by Nafisa Hazad. I know it's a young adult fantasy. That's all I know about it. Few people talked about it, and I was like, oh, I want to get that. So I waited till it went on sale, and I got it. Now, the next one is Ghost of the Shadow Market by Cassandra Clare and a bunch of other authors. And of course, this is the Shadow Hunter world. And I believe this is following Gem. And I think it should have been read before I read the last Queen of Air and Darkness. But I'll still read it. It's a whole bunch of short stories. But I'll still read it. And I'm sure I'm going to love it because I love every other book. This is a young adult contemporary, The Geography of Lost Things by Jessica Brody. I know it's about a road trip. So it was on Book Outlet, so I decided to get it. This one here, Reagan from Peru's Project was talking about it. And I was like, oh, I had never heard of that book before. So once she talked about it, I went and I found it, and it was on sale. So this is by Maya Motain. It's Nocturna, and I can't remember what it's about now, but it sounded really interesting when she talked about it. I know it's a fantasy. And this one here is Descendant of the Crane by Joan He, and again, fantasy. Don't know too much about it. It was on sale. A few people talked about it, and it seemed really interesting. This is a young adult contemporary, Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. I've already read this, and I really enjoyed it. It was a 4-star read. It was a male-male romance with the Prince of England and the son of the President of the United States. So, love that. Then the next book I've already read too. It's The Bride Test by Helen Huang. And this is a adult contemporary, and it has the representation of autism, and I really loved it. That was a 5-star read for me. The next book I've already read too. It's The Honeymooners by Christina Lauren. This is an adult contemporary, and it's about a wedding, and everybody gets sick at the wedding, and there are only 2 people that didn't get sick. It's because they didn't eat the food, so they end up going on the honeymoon, and it's a hate to love romance. It was super cute. I gave it 5 stars. Love Christina Lauren. Now the next bunch of books, again, is because Reagan from Peru's Project talked about it. It's The Keeper of the Lost Cities, and it's a middle grade, and it's about Alf and, you know, a bunch of adventures. There's a ton of books. I got the first 4 books off Book Outlet, and I think I have the 5th one. No, I got 1, 2, and 4 out of Book Outlet, and then I had to buy this one on Amazon. It was still pretty cheap. So the first one is Keeper of Lost Cities. The second one is Exile. Yep. Then the third one is Everblaze. And the 4th one is Never Seen. So I can't wait to start those. Now the next one, I've seen a bunch of people talk about this one. It's an adult contemporary by K.A. Tucker, The Simple Wild. It has to do with Alaska. I can't wait to read it. I'll probably read it in July or August. Now the next one is, I got that from Book Outlet. It's The Chalk Man. It's by C.J. Tudor. This is a thriller. Don't want to know too much about it because then it ruins the thriller. The next one is Vinegar Girl by Anne Tyler. Again, got this on Book Outlet. It's not a very thick book. It's like 200 pages, 220. And when I saw it, okay, it's a William Shakespeare, The Taming of, oh no, that's the next book. It's a retelling of something. I can't remember which one it is, but when I read the synopsis, I was like, oh, that sounds really interesting. And it was super cheap on Book Outlet, so I got that. The next one is There's Something About Sweetie by Sandhya Menon. I've read her first 2 books. I have to say I like the first book better than the second one, but I've heard a lot of good things about this. And so I can't wait to read that. The next one I got was Frederick Bachman, Things My Son Needs to Know About the World. I love Frederick Bachman, and this is another book that my daughter got for me for my birthday. And I don't know where the other one is. I might have forgotten to bring it. And this one is Julie Buxbaum, Tell Me 3 Things. I read her first book last month, and I really liked it, so I placed What to Say Next. So I got this one. It's a young adult contemporary. Since I like the first one so much, I decided to get that one. Then this one is a historical fiction, The Quintland Sisters by Shelley Wood. Don't know too much about it. A few people were talking about it and saying how much they loved it, so I decided to get it. And I think that's it. So that was over 40 books for 2 months. And so yeah, so quite a few books that I need to get read. And I'll talk more about them in sort of my wrap-ups with when I do my mini album of all the books that I read in 2019. So that's it. That's all the books that I got in May and June. Not too bad. I did end up reading 3 of them already. Not a great average, but at least I've gotten some of them read that I bought, you know, reading them right away. And that's it. That's going to complete this book haul. And I want to thank you so much for watching. Bye.